Aging begins in the joints of the muscles, but biologically, aging begins with stillness. The human body was designed to move every single day, not to chase youth, but to preserve function. When doctors study seniors who age well, they don't find extreme workouts or intense routines. They find something quieter, small, consistent movements that remind the nervous system, the muscles, and even the bones that they are still needed. Movement, at its core, is a conversation between the brain and the body, and when that conversation stops, decline begins. The first movement doctors often recommend is simple walking, but not because it burns calories. Walking stimulates circulation, and circulation is how the body delivers oxygen, nutrients, and immune cells. With every step, blood vessels gently expand and contract, keeping them flexible. This is vital because stiffness in the arteries ages the heart faster than time itself. Walking is not exercise in the aggressive sense. It is maintenance, like oiling a machine that was built to last a lifetime. Most people think aging is something that happens automatically as the years pass, but biology tells a quieter and more uncomfortable truth. The body does not measure age by birthdays. It measures age by use. When movement becomes rare, the systems that depend on it begin to slow down. Not out of failure, but out of adaptation. The brain is constantly deciding what to maintain and what to let go, and it bases those decisions on daily signals. Movement is one of the strongest signals the body receives, telling it that strength, coordination, and energy are still required for survival. From a scientific perspective, every movement is a message sent from the muscles back to the brain through the nervous system. These messages help maintain neural pathways responsible for balance, coordination, and strength. When movement decreases, those pathways are used less often, and the brain begins to reduce its investment in them. This is why long periods of inactivity can make even simple tasks feel harder over time. It is not weakness alone, it is a loss of communication. The body is not failing, it is responding logically to silence. Muscles themselves are deeply connected to aging because they influence far more than motion. Active muscles help regulate inflammation, support immune function, and stabilize blood sugar levels. When muscles are not used regularly, the body enters a state of conservation, reducing muscle tissue and slowing metabolism. This process can begin quickly and quietly, often mistaken for natural aging, when in reality, it is a biological response to reduced demand. The body always seeks efficiency, and unused tissue becomes expensive to maintain. Stillness also affects circulation. Without regular movement, blood flow becomes less dynamic, oxygen delivery slows, and cellular repair becomes less efficient. Over time, tissues receive fewer resources, and recovery takes longer. This is why stiffness and fatigue appear not suddenly, but gradually, creeping into daily life. The body is not breaking down. It is adjusting to a slower rhythm that it assumes is permanent. Perhaps most importantly, movement preserves independence. The brain associates regular motion with capability. When daily movement stops, the brain begins to prioritize safety over strength, subtly limiting range, speed, and power. This protective strategy feels like aging, but it is actually caution encoded into the nervous system. Reintroducing movement gently reminds the brain that the body is still capable, still responsive, still worth maintaining. In this way, aging is not simply a timeline, but a dialogue between the body and its environment, shaped every day by motion or the absence of it. Walking is often underestimated because it appears simple, almost too ordinary to matter, yet within the human body it activates one of the most complex and essential biological systems: circulation. The heart does not work alone. It relies on movement from the legs, hips, and core to help push blood back upward against gravity. Each step gently compresses and releases blood vessels, creating a pumping action that supports the heart and keeps blood flowing smoothly through the body. This rhythmic pressure is not aggressive, but it is continuous, and consistency is what the cardiovascular system responds to most effectively. When doctors emphasize walking for seniors, they are not focused on weight loss or athletic performance. Their attention is on vascular health. Blood vessels are meant to be flexible, expanding and contracting as blood moves through them. Without regular movement, vessels begin to stiffen, making it harder for the heart to circulate blood efficiently. This stiffness increases strain on the heart and raises the risk of cardiovascular disease. Walking preserves elasticity in the arteries, allowing the heart to work with the body instead of against it. Circulation is also how oxygen reaches every cell. Oxygen is not just fuel for movement. It is essential for cellular repair, brain function, and immune defense. As walking increases blood flow, tissues receive more oxygen and nutrients, supporting recovery and resilience. This is especially important as the body ages, because cellular repair naturally becomes slower. Walking does not reverse time, but it creates conditions that allow the body to maintain itself more effectively. The brain benefits deeply from this process. Improved circulation increases blood flow to the brain, supporting memory, focus, and emotional regulation. Studies consistently show that regular walking is associated with reduced risk of cognitive decline, not because walking is mentally complex, but because the brain depends on steady oxygen and nutrient delivery. Movement keeps the brain engaged with the body, reinforcing the connection between thought and action. Walking also supports metabolic health. Gentle, sustained movement helps regulate blood sugar by encouraging muscles to absorb glucose from the bloodstream. This reduces insulin strain and lowers the risk of metabolic disorders that often increase with age. The effect is subtle but cumulative, working quietly in the background each day. Perhaps the most important quality of walking is its accessibility. It places little stress on joints, adapts easily to different fitness levels, and integrates naturally into daily life. It does not demand intensity, equipment, or perfection. It simply asks for presence and repetition. Over time, this simple act becomes a biological reassurance, reminding the heart, the vessels, and the cells that the body is still in motion, still circulating life through itself. Balance is often misunderstood as a matter of strong legs or stable joints, but its true foundation lies in the nervous system. Every moment the body remains upright, the brain is receiving information from the eyes, the inner ear, and sensors in the muscles and joints. These signals are processed instantly to keep the body centered and safe. When balance is challenged in small, controlled ways, the brain stays alert and adaptive. When it is not, the brain slowly reduces its responsiveness, not out of neglect, but out of efficiency. As people age, the speed at which the brain processes balance-related information can slow. This does not mean the system is broken. It means it needs regular practice. Simple balance movements, such as standing on one leg or shifting weight from side to side, act like mental training for the nervous system. They teach the brain to predict instability and correct it before a fall occurs. Falls are rarely caused by weak muscles alone. They happen when the brain's response time no longer matches the body's needs. Balance exercises strengthen communication pathways between the brain and the muscles. Each controlled adjustment reinforces neural connections that allow faster, more precise reactions. Without these daily reminders, the brain begins to favor caution over capability, reducing range of motion and confidence. This protective behavior feels like fragility, but it is actually a learned response to uncertainty. Gentle balance training restores trust between the brain and the body. There is also a psychological dimension to balance. When people feel unsteady, they move less. Less movement leads to further decline in coordination, creating a cycle that reinforces fear. Practicing balance in a safe, controlled environment interrupts this cycle. It builds confidence not through force, but through familiarity. The body remembers how to adjust, and the mind relearns that it can rely on those adjustments. From a physiological perspective, balance work engages deep stabilizing muscles that are rarely activated during routine activities. These muscles support the spine and joints, reducing strain and improving posture. Better posture improves breathing efficiency and circulation, indirectly supporting overall health. The benefits of balance training extend far beyond preventing falls. They influence how the entire body organizes itself in space. Balance is ultimately about adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and the body must respond to uneven ground, sudden turns, and unexpected shifts. Regular balance movements prepare the nervous system for these moments, keeping reaction pathways sharp. In this way, balance training is not just physical practice. It is neurological maintenance, preserving the body's ability to respond, adjust, and remain upright in a world that is always changing. Muscle is often associated with appearance or physical power, but biologically it serves a much deeper purpose. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it plays a central role in how the body manages energy, blood sugar, and inflammation. As people age, the body naturally becomes more selective about what it maintains. When muscles are not regularly used, the body interprets them as unnecessary and begins to break them down. This process is gradual and often mistaken for normal aging when it is actually a response to reduced demand. Active muscles act like reservoirs for glucose. After meals, muscles help absorb sugar from the bloodstream, reducing the burden on insulin and the pancreas. When muscle mass declines, this system becomes less efficient, leading to higher blood sugar levels and increased metabolic stress. Even gentle strength movements can stimulate muscle cells to remain responsive, preserving this essential function. The goal is not to build large muscles, but to keep existing muscle tissue engaged and alive. Muscles also play a crucial role in joint health. They act as natural shock absorbers, stabilizing joints and distributing forces during movement. Without sufficient muscle support, joints experience greater strain, accelerating wear and discomfort. This is why weakness often leads to pain, not because joints are failing, but because they are unsupported. Strength movements restore balance, allowing joints to move more freely and comfortably. Bone health is deeply connected to muscle activity. Bones respond to stress by becoming stronger, and muscles provide that stress through controlled movement. When muscles contract, they send mechanical signals to the bones, encouraging density and resilience. Without this stimulus, bones gradually lose strength, increasing fracture risk. Light resistance, performed consistently, provides enough signal to maintain skeletal integrity without overloading the body. Beyond the physical, muscle strength influences independence. Simple actions such as standing from a chair, carrying groceries, or climbing stairs rely on functional strength. When these movements become difficult, reliance on others increases, affecting confidence and quality of life. Maintaining muscle is not about prolonging youth, but about preserving autonomy. Each strength movement is a reminder to the body that it is still needed, still capable, and still part of daily living. Through consistent engagement, muscle sends a message of usefulness that the body responds to by maintaining function rather than surrendering it. Mobility is often confused with flexibility, but biologically it represents something far more essential. Mobility is the body's ability to move joints through comfortable, controlled ranges of motion while maintaining stability and awareness. Joints are not passive hinges. They are living structures that depend on movement to remain healthy. Cartilage, which cushions the joints, has no direct blood supply. It receives nutrients through the gentle compression and release that occurs during movement. Without this daily nourishment, stiffness develops not as a flaw, but as a natural consequence of inactivity. Slow, intentional movement signals safety to the nervous system. When motion is rushed or forced, the body responds with tension. When it is calm and controlled, the nervous system relaxes, allowing muscles to lengthen and joints to open. This shift lowers stress hormones such as cortisol, which in excess can accelerate inflammation and tissue breakdown. Mobility work, therefore, is not only mechanical, but neurological, helping the body transition from a state of protection to one of ease. As mobility decreases, the body compensates by restricting movement patterns. This restriction feels like aging, but it is often a learned response. The brain limits range to avoid perceived threat, especially when joints feel unfamiliar or tight. Gentle mobility exercises reintroduce these ranges gradually, teaching the brain that movement is still safe. Over time, this restores confidence in the body's ability to move without pain. Breathing plays a subtle but powerful role in mobility. Deep, relaxed breathing during movement improves oxygen delivery and encourages muscle relaxation. It also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which supports recovery and repair. When breathing and movement are coordinated, the body functions as an integrated system rather than isolated parts. This integration improves posture, reduces unnecessary tension, and supports smoother movement throughout the day. Mobility also influences how energy flows through the body. Restricted joints alter movement patterns, increasing effort and fatigue. When joints move freely, movement becomes more efficient, conserving energy and reducing strain. This efficiency is especially important as the body ages because recovery time naturally increases. Gentle mobility preserves ease, allowing the body to perform daily tasks with less effort and more comfort. In this way, mobility is an act of respect toward the body. It acknowledges that aging does not eliminate adaptability. Through slow, mindful movement, the body is reminded that space, comfort, and calm are still available. This daily practice supports joint health, nervous system balance, and overall resilience, allowing the body to move through time with greater grace and less resistance.